is Ari, and this is Small Quest, my Quest Cape Ultimate Ironman. Together, we're going to complete every quest in Old School RuneScape in the hardest way possible, with only 28 inventory spots. Our final goal? Complete Dragon Slayer 2 and get our Quest Cape. Easiest reward casket of my life. All right, what we got? I mean, it is a beginner reward, so garbage. Fucking garbage. Our first quest of the day is Black Knight's Fortress. This quest takes us to the center of Falador, where we enter the White Knight's Castle, also known as Reddit, and we head to the 3rd floor to speak to Sir Amic Vars, the head of the White Knights. Sir Amic Vars tells us that they have an issue. They're in need of a spy. Unfortunately, nobody in the White Knights can possibly accomplish what they need to be done, because all of them are white armor fetishists and they can never be seen out of their armor. I'm actually not making this up. He informs us that the Black Knights, who can be located north of the Dwarven Mine, have been issuing a series of increasingly dramatic threats towards Falador, and they even let slip that they have a secret weapon. Our mission, if we choose to accept it, is to infiltrate the Black Knight Fortress and destroy their secret weapon. We're given a dossier that, comically, destroys itself once we've read it, starting our quest. First thing we do is make our way to the Black Knight Fortress, and seeing as we are a master of disguise,
am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
Don our bronze medium helm and iron chain body and waltz right in the front door. Once inside, we navigate our way through a handful of secret doors, ladders, rooms, and other mysterious parts of a totally normal building until we locate a grate which we can hear something through. There we see the Black Knight captain, a witch, and a goblin having a very serious conversation about their super secret weapon. They are making an invincibility potion, but the only thing they have left to do is to add a cabbage from Draenor Manor. The soil there is slightly magical, so adding a cabbage from there will complete the potion, but any other cabbage will destroy it. With this in mind and a cabbage in our pocket, we head back through the Black Knight Fortress, navigating our way to the room directly above the potion. There, we find a cabbage-sized hole in the ground, and in all of our infinite wisdom, we toss the cabbage we brought with us in. Dramatically, in slow motion, horror crosses the face of the witch as our cabbage tumbles from the sky, landing in the potion and destroying it. Our mission accomplished, we waltz our way out of the Black Knight's Fortress, attempting not to die, which thankfully we do not, and make our way back to Sir Amic Vars. When we arrive there, we tell him that we sabotaged the weapon, and he lets us know that they received a note from the Black Knights saying they withdraw all of their demands. We are then presented with our quest rewards, which are 3 quest points, 2,500 shiny little coins, and that's it. Our next quest is Corsair Curse, and we join our heroine in media res as she lights a fire below the home of a man. You might ask yourself, how did we get here? Why didn't we see how we got here? Why is this old man running down here and using magic on a fire? Let me first apologize because I forgot to record the first part of the quest. Now, let me explain how we got here. Corsair's Curse starts just to the south of Falador, where we speak to Captain Talk. Captain Talk tells us that his crew has been cursed and that all of them will die if they're not helped. We offer to help, and he takes us to Corsair Cove, where we find his 4 crew members: Ethoy the Navigator, Arson the Thief, the Cabin Boy Colin, and Nochi the Cook. Now, each one of them thinks they've been cursed for a different reason. After speaking to Arson the Thief, he tells us that he stole a very special relic from some nearby ogres. He gives it back to us and we offer to return it to the ogre, so we head down into a cave, speak to Chief Tess, and give her back what she reveals to be a toothpick. She's not particularly pressed about the fact that it was stolen from her and she didn't curse the crew. We then speak to Colin, who believes he may have offended a mermaid after seeing one through Ethoy's telescope. However, it was very dark and late at night, and what Ethoy actually saw was a swimming ogre. When we tell him this, he is amazed, and we come to the conclusion that this is also not the source of the curse. We also speak to Noki, who believes that he found a possessed doll, and that she had cursed the crew. In a panic, he buried her near a tree to the west. So like the good little adventurers we are, we go and dig her up. When we do, we find out that it's really just a clockwork doll, and it wanders around in a circle before falling back into the ocean. We return to Noki and let him know this, and he reveals that that's probably also not the cause of the curse. We come to the realization that there's a traitor amongst us. And after realizing that our good friend Ethoy was under threat of being replaced on the crew, he also cooked the meal just before the curse befell the crew. We come to the conclusion that they have been poisoned, and we confront Ethoy, lighting a fire underneath his home to prove that he is not ill. When we deliver the news of his betrayal and his health to Captain Talk, he tells us to kill him. We return to Ethoy, murder the ever-living shit out of him, and then head back to Captain Talk, who thanks us for our help, is happy to hear that his crew members will return to full health, and gives us our quest rewards. Our quest rewards are 2 quest points and access to the Corsair Cove Bank. I have to apologize as well. I forgot to record the beginning of the quest. That's on me. Let's move on. I promise it won't happen again. Probably. Just doing a little bit of grinding. We picked up a fire staff from Zaf's staffs. And we have a handful of runes left over from the beginning of our, time here in Galanor. And with those, we are safe spotting some Varak guards. So we just hit 13 magic. I'm going to do this probably until I run out of money. I'm going to go buy some more air and mind runes over there in a moment. And that'll be our money source for a little bit. And these apparently can drop nature runes, which is awesome. I didn't actually know that. Those will be useful in the long term if I end up carrying this forever. Inventory's getting a little tight. I'm going to have to start throwing stuff on the ground soon. But I do have a lot of things I don't need, so... Level 17 magic brings us to a total level of 350. Fantastic. I'm just gonna keep grinding until we're out of runes. And there's 20 magic. We're just gonna kill this last guard. We still have plenty of runes. I bought 200 more air runes and we didn't even use all of our mind runes. So we only used like 180 casts to get here, which is not bad at all. But yeah, we'll worry about the inventory situation in a bit. Don't sweat it, okay? Don't sweat it. I'm not nervous, you're nervous. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to farm up to 65 marks of grace just so I can get the gloves and the boots so that I have something to wear. It'll help me like in the long run with running around, and it'll help me in the short term with getting me a bunch of agi levels. 35 agility, let's go! Level 40 agi, let's go. We are making places in the world. We currently have 41 of the 100 marks of grace that I'm trying to get. I want to get the gloves, cape, and boots for the graceful set. It's going to bring down my weight a lot while I'm running around and doing all these quests, so hopefully going to be useful. Eventually, once I get a level 42 construction, I'll be able to store those in my house, but that is a long way away. Seems we're, level 5 right now, but progress! Finally, it happens. Here's our 70th Mark of Grace. We will take this and we will go to Berthorpe and we will procure for ourselves gloves and a cape because we have plans for our boots. We have other plans for our boots. We don't want to fill the boot slot with graceful yet. So we're gonna finish up our 220th lap around this fucking place. Jesus Lord Almighty. And then we are going to teleport over to Berthorpe and go from there. And here it is. We're going to get a pair of gloves and a cape that takes care of all of our graceful tokens. Oh, look at that. Our first cape on the account. Very nice. So that's going to bring our weight down, which is nice. We have 6 kg with that. What do we have without? Because these give us negative weight. And without, we are at 13 kgs. So this is taking 7 kilograms off our weight, which is going to make our run come back so much faster. God bless. All right, back to questing. So I'm not breaking chronology here. Today is September 5th, 2022. And the servers went down for a little bit of time just a moment ago, and I couldn't really find out why. I just knew they were down for a little bit. And you'll see that the portions just before this were me getting my 70th Mark of Grace and getting my Graceful pieces. Well, they rolled back the servers and a little bit, so we're gonna have to do that again. So I'll see you guys in a moment when I get my Graceful back. Oh, hey! All right. Well, at least I didn't get fucked, huh? Our next quest of the day is Death Plateau, which takes us to Burthorpe, just northwest of Falador and north of Taverley. Here we speak to Denolf, one of the leaders of Burthorpe's Imperial Guard. He tells us that trolls have taken over Death Plateau and they're using it to launch nightly raids on Burthorpe. However, they can't seem to get it back because the main path is heavily guarded by trolls and they're all very weak little babies. It's now our job to find a different way to Death Plateau so they can ambush the trolls. Secondarily, Duluth also needs us to open up the equipment storage room in Burthorpe Castle, which requires a combination code comprised of a handful of colored blocks and weighted pedestals. However, he doesn't know the combination. So we go and talk to Aoric at the top floor of Burthorpe Castle. He tells us that the guard on duty last night, Harold, is staying at the Toad and Chicken pub in Burthorpe. We go to talk to Harold, but he's being a very grumpy man and doesn't want to tell us about the combination. After talking to Aoric again, he lets us know that Harold is an avid drinker and gambler, much like many of the people in Wisconsin, and the fastest way to his heart is likely through his stomach and his dice. So we buy him an Asgardian ale, or just steal one, and we talk to him again, and this time, he's very excited. Now Harold's got loose lips, and he tells us that he lost the combination, and he can't find it no matter how hard he looks. But he does offer to gamble with us, and being the little addicts we are, we take him up on that offer. Unfortunately for us, Small Quest is very bad at gambling and loses a handful of coins before realizing she needs to get this guy more drunk before she gambles with him. So off we strut to the Tree Gnome Stronghold, buy a pre-made Blurberry special, bring it back to Harold, and get him all kinds of liquored up. After that, we start gambling again, and we realize this guy can't even count anymore. On the bright side, though, that means that we win by default, and he hands us an IOU after he runs out of money. On the back of that IOU, we find the combination to the safe. Thanks a lot, Harold. You looked really hard. Now we head to the storage room on the ground floor of Burthorpe Castle and read the combination, which is a series of strange relationships between these colored balls. We decipher it with our very big brains and quest helper, but mostly our big brains, and open the door, freeing an archer and also unlocking the equipment room. Now our next task is to figure out how the heck to get an ambush on Death Plateau. We head a little bit up the beaten path and find a cave, and inside of which there's a man named Saba. We ask him if he knows another way up to Death Plateau, and he's an asshole, just like Harold. Why is everyone so mean to us in this quest? He tells us that he hates trolls who disturb him, but he'll negotiate with us. He tells us that there's a secret path from a certain Sherpa's home. We leave the cave and head a little bit to the west and find the Sherpa, whose name is Tenzig. Tenzig lets us know that he will help us, but under a handful of conditions. He needs to add spikes to his climbing boots, using an iron bar in the climbing boots he provides to us. We also need to procure for him 10 loaves of bread and 10 cooked trout. Now, you might pause for a second and realize we only have 28 inventory slots, and that is 21 items. So we're going to momentarily deal with that inventory situation. We take an iron bar that we smelted and the climbing boots to Dunstan in the northeast part of Burthorpe. He agrees to make them into spike boots under one condition, because apparently nobody in this town can do anything for themselves. He wants his son to be an Imperial Guard. That should be easy enough for our heroine, so we talk to Denolf, get a certificate making Dunstan's son an Imperial Guard, and Dunstan makes us some spiked boots. Our next step is to procure 10 loaves of bread and 10 cooked trout for our friend Tenzig. We wander our way to the barbarian village just west of Varak and fly fish from trout out of the river. Then we make our way to East Ardoin and steal 10 loaves of bread from the bakery stall. God bless this man for not beating the crap out of us while we're stealing his bread directly in front of him. With these items in tow and our inventory completely full, we head back to Tenzing, who gives us a map of a secret area. We run out the back door like a scorned lover, jump over a fence, and head up the mountain until we realize that we've pretty much figured out where we're going. With this newfound knowledge, we head back to the Nulth, tell him about the secret passage, give him the combination, and complete our quest. This rewards us with 1 quest point, 3,000 attack experience, some steel claws, and the ability to make claws for ourselves. Our next quest takes us back to Varak, where we head into Varak Castle into the back to Varak's library. We speak to a man there named Reldo, and we tell him we want a quest. He doesn't really have much information for us, but he says there's probably some information if we just read around a little bit. We grab some books off the shelves and find one named The Shield of Arav. After reading it, we speak to Reldo again and ask for the location of the Phoenix Gang. He tells us he doesn't know, but he wants us to speak to Varak, the fur trader in Varak Square. Apparently, Varak knows the location of the Phoenix Gang. We speak to Varak, and he doesn't want us raising our voice too much when we mention the Phoenix Gang. He refuses to tell us anything, but no lips are sealed to money, so we offer him 20 coins, and he tells us that the Phoenix Gang is located in the southeast corner of Varak. After poking around a little bit, we find a ladder leading underground just to the west of the monastery. We head down there and speak to a man named Straven. We tell Straven we're looking for the Phoenix Gang, and Straven says he has no idea who that is. He tells us that this is the current location of the Varak Herald newspaper, but being the incredibly inquisitive people we are, we just keep asking. He lets us know that it's definitely not the Phoenix Gang's hideout, and that the Phoenix Gang definitely would not want a man in the Blue Moon Inn named Johnny the Beard to be murdered. We take this incredibly subtle hint to the Blue Moon Inn and murder Johnny the Beard in cold blood. When we kill him, he drops a report, presumably belonging to the Black Arm Gang, the other gang in Varak. We bring this report back to Straven, and Straven is very excitingly tells us that they really are the Phoenix Gang. As if we hadn't figured that out by now. Now that we are officially members of the gang, Straven gives us a key to the weapons storeroom so that we can get ourselves some supplies. Instead of doing that, however, we take that and we give that to our friend who's trying to get the other half of the Shield of Arav. While our friend is messing about and taking things from the Phoenix Gang, we're going to re-enter the Phoenix Gang hideout and dig around in a chest in the back of the gang's hideout. In there, we find 1/2 of the Shield of Arav. Now we waltz our way over to the Varak Museum and give our half of the shield to the curator. He's very excited to see it, but a little disappointed that's only half the shield. Because of that, he'll only give us half of the certificate to redeem the reward. In our immortal wit, we ask for 2 halves, and the curator agrees, giving us 2 of the same half of the certificate. Now this is where our friend comes in. They have found the other half of the shield from the Black Arm Gang, and also received 2 halves of certificate from the curator. They give us the other half of the certificate, which we combine in our inventory to make 1 whole certificate. Then we stroll up to Varak Castle, speak to King Rold himself, and let him know that we are here to collect our reward. We have found the entirety of the Shield of Arav. Kind of. Our quest reward is 1 quest point and 600 piddly coins. The time has finally come for my least favorite quest in RuneScape. Rune Mystery starts with Duke Horatio on the 2nd floor of Lumbridge Castle. He explains to us that he's recently found a strange talisman, but he doesn't know what it does. He is a bit curious about what it does though, so he asks us to take it to the Wizard's Tower and speak to Archmage Sedrador to figure it out. Now, this is the part of the quest that's really fun. Sedrador doesn't tell us shit. All he tells us is to go talk to his friend in Varak. So, we head to Varak, and we talk to Aubrey, who also doesn't tell us shit. Aubrey sends us back to Sedrador, who finally tells us what these 2 nerds have been going on about. With the help of that talisman, they have finally figured out the location of the lost Rune Essence mine, and are now able to teleport people there to gather Rune Essence. Because of that, we're given our quest rewards: 1 quest point, an air talisman, and access to the rune essence mine. This also gives us access to the rune crafting skill, one of my least favorite skills in RuneScape. I don't know when this happened, but apparently he got total level 400. Must have been with our last cooking level. We're currently just doing a little bit of cooking. I need food for my next quest, so I guess I can do it. And there is 24 cooking as well. We have 402 total level, and we can make some new beer as well. Fantastic. Let's go do that quest now. Get this shit out of my inventory. Garbage. And our final quest of the day is Priest in Peril. This is a very important quest for us because it gives us access to the entirety of Mauritania, where Swamp Letix lives. We begin this quest by speaking to our good friend King Rold, who has just awarded us 600 coins for the Shield of Arav quest. King Rold lets us know that they've lost contact with the temple to the east and they need somebody to go investigate. We agree because we are incredibly intelligent and very strong individuals, and we strut our way over to the temple. We knock on the door of the temple and tell the voice on the other side that we're looking for a man named Drezel, who's supposed to be the caretaker of this temple. After some muttering that we definitely don't hear, or at least don't pay any attention to, a man comes to the door claiming to be Drezel and lets us know that they need a little help since we're here anyways. Drezel asks us to kill a very scary dog that lives under the temple. We head down a ladder just to the north and find a temple guardian who we beat to death with a stick. After doing this, we head back to the temple. They congratulate us and tell us to go speak with King Rold, which we do. And it has one of the best pieces of dialogue in RuneScape. I'm sorry, King Rold. Yes, we are an imbecile. It turns out we have been bamboozled. The voice at the temple was not Drezel, it was somebody else entirely. And the dog we just killed was the temple guardian, stopping people from getting further into the temple and tampering with it. With that knowledge and the death of the dog on our shoulders, we head back to the temple and just head in the front door this time. We're very angry, so we do a quick murdering on the first person we see, and thankfully for us, they drop a key. We climb to the top floor where we find Drezel imprisoned, but unfortunately the key we found isn't for his door, it's actually for the temple. Down in the temple, we find a handful of statues, one of which that has a slot for a key. We stick the golden key in it and receive in exchange an iron key. After returning to Drezel with this in hand, we are able to let him out. Now, this isn't the end of our problems, however. Drezel lets us know that there's a coffin on the top floor with him that houses a very strong vampire. He needs to deal with this before he can deal with the fact that the temple guardian has been killed, and asks us to bring him some water. Well, thankfully for us, we're very intelligent and have a bucket of water in our pocket, which Drezel blesses. We take that, dump it on the coffin of the vampire, and presumably he turns to dust or goes back to sleep. Honestly, who knows? It's RuneScape. With that taken care of, Drezel heads into the temple himself. We head down there and meet him, and he lets us know that they have a problem. The seal between Mauritania and Varak is not in good shape. He needs to repair it in a hurry, and to do that, he requires 50 rune essence. We also brought some of that with us, but unfortunately for us, 50 is greater than 28. So we're gonna have to make a couple trips. We give our last inventory of rune essence to Drezel, and he repairs the barrier between Varak and Mauritania. He also, however, allows us to pass on one condition. We listen to his life story. He finally stops talking, God bless, and rewarded with our quest rewards. 1 quest point, access to Mauritania, 1,406 prayer experience, and the Wolfbane dagger. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.